Hello and welcome to the news on NTA International. I am Frama Panyi and Shagun Ajayi is the sign language interpreter. First, let's see the headlines. President Tinubu receives commendations for economic policies in Nigeria's interest. Defense Minister says synergy between relevant stakeholders key to actualize Nigeria's industrialization drive. The United Nations set to end peacekeeping mission in Mali. We begin with stories from the State House. President Bola Tinubu has continued to receive commendations for his policy decisions on the country's economy so far. An economist and revered entrepreneur in the banking sector, Tony Elumelu, who visited President Tinubu at the State House, acknowledges that the Nigerian leader has taken good decisions in the interest of the country. He implores Nigerians to be patient with the president to see the benefits of the decisions.
With the bold decisions President Bola Tinubu has taken, and we hope that in the fullness of time, Nigerians will benefit from it, because it's all about Nigerian people, it's all about youth, it's all about making sure our women are involved and empowered, it's all about making sure our youth get jobs, and I think Mr. President has this at the back of his mind, and I believe, as a private sector person, that the actions and decisions the president is taking now, in the long run, will help our people. But a bit of patience, you know, Rome was not built in a day. One day, like.
Okay. Thank you very much.
A frontline All Progressive Congress support group, Project 2023 and Beyond, has lauded economic policies rolled out by President Bola Tinubu under the Renewed Hope agenda. The group commended Tinubu's presidency for some of the bold steps to recover lost hours and insists it is the best way to go to put the economy in the right trajectory. Project 2023 and Beyond was strategic in the making of Tinubu's presidency and wants its arrowhead Shola Olofin to be considered for the office of Youth and Sports Minister.
We are soliciting Mr. President and the leadership of our party, the APC, to please hearken to the wishes of the Nigerian youth by appointing Honorable Shola Olofin to lead the youth ministry as Honorable Minister of Youth Affairs.
The group says it will continue to pledge its total support and commitment for the success of APC at the center and sub-national levels beyond 2023. Governor of Lagos State, Babajide Sanwo-Olu, has applauded Nigeria's First Lady, Oluremi Tinubu, for her intervention in providing empowerment to women and other vulnerable groups in the society through her pet project, Renewed Hope Initiative. He said this while speaking to State House correspondents after a courtesy call on the First Lady at the Villa, noting her recent interventions in the education sector, where a national scholarship program was flagged off, agriculture and social investment. The governor said such efforts will serve to reassure Nigerians.
Complementary role to what Mr. President is also doing, and I think it's great. You know, our own idea is not necessarily to begin to build brick and mortar, is really to be able to intervene, you know, in schools, you know, for people needing scholarship, in farming, you know, people needing implements, you know, seedlings, and also to be able to provide immediate succor, you know, for families and for people that that are vulnerable in the society, that the initiative can indeed targeted, and I think it's beautiful.
On ongoing reforms by President Bola Tinubu, Governor Sanwo-Olu said taking the country to a level where every Nigerian can be comfortable requires hard decisions and systematic efforts by the government, as well as a lot of patience on the part of citizens.
Generally, as a people, we just want the changes now, and we have to continue to encourage him, support him, and encourage our citizens as well, that we see a bright light down the tunnel. Not doing anything is not an option. So, in the course of doing things differently, there'll be belt up here, there'll be tightness there, but at the end of the day, we believe, the results and the outcomes of those reforms will improve the quality of life, will make things a lot better for our citizens, and will probably just make, the economy continue to grow in a direction that we're all appreciative of.
And President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has approved the appointment of a new board and management team of the Niger Delta Development Commission's NDDC board and management team members. A statement signed by Special Advisor to the President on Media and Publicity, Ajuri Ngelale, indicates that Chedu Ebie is chairman, Dr. Samuel Oguku, Managing Director, CEO, Boma Iyaye, Executive Director, Finance and Administration, Victor Antai, Executive Director, Projects, Ifedayo Abegunde, Executive Director, Corporate Services, Senator Dimaro Denyambufa, State Representative, Abasi Indikan Nkono, State Representative. Others are Monday Iguya, State Representative, Chief Tony Okocha, State Representative, Patrick Aisoweren, State Representative, Kirian Uchebu, State Representative, Victor Kolade Akinjo, State Representative, Chief Dingba Eruba, State Representative, Asu Oku Okang, State Representative, Nick Wende, Zonal Representative, North Central, Namdas Abdurazak, Zonal Representative, Northeast, and Senator Ibrahim Abdullahi Gobir, Zonal Representative, Northwest. The statement adds that the President expects that the new board and management team will ensure a new era of successful administration in the NDDC in line with his renewed hope agenda. And Minister of Defense Abubakar Badaru says synergy between relevant stakeholders is required to actualize Nigeria's drive towards industrialization, energy security and climate change. This confirmed part of his lecture to Senior Executive Course 45 to mark Defense Week at the National Institute for Policy and Strategic Studies NIPS Kuru. Elizabeth Tukai Andrew reports.
The Defense Week has industrialization, energy security and climate change in Nigeria, the role of the armed forces as its theme. Minister of Defense Badaru Abubakar, represented by his permanent secretary, while declaring it open, says some of the challenges confronting the nation are as a result of climate change, the rising crime rate, which has deepened poverty and induced forced migration. He, however, said Nigeria has become increasingly active towards achieving national security as the federal government pushes towards achieving energy and food security.
There's a need for military-industrial complex to be revitalized, because with that it will improve Nigeria's industrialization. When we have industrialization, there will be increased job creation, and that will further strengthen our economy. Secondly, we looked at the issue of policies. There's a need for the review of the national defense policy. Chief of Defense Staff General Christopher Musa, who was also represented, says the Nigerian armed forces are addressing the impacts of climate change on industrialization, energy and security through anti-bunkering, counter-terrorism and disaster management.
The fact is we need to work more collaboratively with all stakeholders because the scenario is complex. And so we've got to appreciate the role every agency plays, even individuals, both domestically and internationally.
The federal government of Nigeria should harness all factors of national power as means of national defense to achieve national security.
Questions and answers bordered on how Nigeria can achieve good governance in the midst of its challenges and ways to achieve food security. In Jos, Elizabeth Tukai Andrew, NTA News.
Bama local government area of Borno State, one of the worst affected by the insurgency, has been selected as first council area in the northeast to benefit from implementation of the United Nations Peace Building Fund project. The project, funded by the UN using the Borno State Rebuilding Model, was unveiled in Maiduguri with the state governor, UN project representatives, and the Bama community in attendance. Mohammed Goni reports.
The United Nations Peacebuilding Fund, established in 2006, is the only UN Secretary General's resource for sustainable peace and development in selected areas affected by conflict globally. The UN project, unveiling first of its kind in the Northeast, was a thing of joy to the paramount ruler and people of Bama community, once occupied and destroyed before it was liberated by security forces. Representative of the Borno State government, Deputy Governor Umar Usman Kadafur, highlighted the need to address the root causes of the insurgency and resettlement drive of the state government through Borno model and UN peace building.
Borno model is aligned with United Nations frameworks on the treatment of or handling of persons exiting terrorists or armed groups designated by the UN as terrorist organizations.
Shehu Obama, Umar Ibn Kari Ibrahim El-Kanemi appreciated Borno State government for its effort in rebuilding Bama, adding that the town is now feeling the impact of UN activities. Representative of the United Nations, Monsef Karkas, highlighted what it aims to achieve in the Peace Building Fund project.
It is the first joint UN project of the PBF directly targeted at the implementation of the Borno model.
According to the Commissioner for Women Affairs, Zuwaira Gambo, the UN Peace Building Fund project will complement efforts of the Borno State government in the reconstruction and resettlement program. The United Nations Peace Building Fund is active in 25 countries with 120 projects positively impacting on the lives of communities' recovery from conflict. In Maiduguri, Mohammed Goni, NTA News.
In another news, head of Sudan's army, Abdel Fattah Burhan, for the first time since the conflict with the rival general erupted in mid-April, met with members of the government. Details with Adebola Brooksland.
The head of Sudan's army, General Abdel Fattah Burhan, fled the capital during a large military operation as the bloody conflict in the northeast African country enters its 5th month. General Burhan said no agreement was reached with rival Daglo to facilitate his departure from the capital.
I can confirm that my exit from the General Command took place without any help, and I did not leave with a deal or by arranging any agreement. We do not agree with traitors or those outside the Sudanese people.
The army general said 2 people were killed in the operation.
We are proud that our brothers in the Navy were part of this operation. The Air Force, the Land Forces and the Navy participated in the operation, and some gave their lives while fighting.
During the cabinet meeting, the information minister vowed that the deadly conflict, which disrupted key sectors including health and food, shall soon end.
The effort exerted in the various productive sectors, whether the agricultural or mineral sectors, must be preserved and doubled in production for the benefit of all Sudanese. I affirmed at the end of the meeting that the rebellion is in decline and that victory is very close.
Sudan was plunged into chaos after months of tension between the military led by General Abdel Fattah Burhan and the Rapid Support Forces commanded by Mohamed Hamdan Daglo exploded into open fighting on April 15. Adebola Brooksland, NTA News.
Meanwhile, United Nations says its peacekeeping mission in Mali is leaving that country, but its agencies, funds and programs still remain there. Head of United Nations Multi-Dimensional Integrated Stabilization Mission in Mali, El-Ghassim Wani, made this known to Security Council members in New York. Again, Adebola Brooksland has the report.
Addressing the Security Council, head of United Nations Multi-Dimensional Integrated Stabilization Mission in Mali, El-Ghassim Wani, said the drawdown and closure of the mission is unfolding in 2 phases through 31 December, followed by liquidation period, which will begin on 1st January 2024. The mission, he said, has had a tangible impact and provided invaluable support to the authorities and people of Mali in what has proven to be one of the most challenging peacekeeping operations ever deployed by the United Nations.
The separation of 1,786 civilian staff, the repatriation or relocation of a load of approximately 5,500 sea containers of contention and United Nations-owned equipment and almost 4,000 vehicles, as well as the closure and handover of 12 camps and 1 temporary operating base to Malian civilian authorities.
Privilégier des solutions endogènes.
Permanent representative of Mali to the UN, Issa Konforo, reminded the council that his government does not envisage extending the departure from the mission beyond December 31, 2023.
Retenir la crise au lieu de la régler durablement.
Negotiations are underway to finalize an all-inclusive agreement that will spell out the obligations of the two parties in line with relevant United Nations instruments and policies. Adebola Brookslyn, NTA News.
You're watching the news on NTA International. We'll be back shortly after this break. Thanks for staying with us. A distress flight made an emergency landing in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia, while authorities facilitated a direct flight to Tel Aviv for their safe return home. And mercenaries pay last respect to one of Yevgeny Prigozhin's deputies killed with his boss in last week's plane crash. Kolo Mohammed tells us more.
Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu thanked Saudi Arabian authorities for their good neighborliness after an Air Asia flight made an emergency landing in Jeddah with 128 Israeli passengers on board. A flight from Saudi to Tel Aviv was approved to fly them back to Israel.
We are about to witness a pivot of history. Maybe. I can't guarantee that it'll happen. But first there is an economic corridor of energy, transport, and communications that naturally goes through our geography, from the Arabian Peninsula, from Asia to the Arabian Peninsula to Europe. We're going to realize that. Yes. And by the way, my sense is we're going to realize that despite whether we have formal peace or not.
The warm attitude of the Saudi authorities towards Israeli passengers whose flight was in distress and forced to make an emergency landing in Jeddah surprised the Israeli Prime Minister and the people of Israel as a whole. And in Russia, mercenaries gathered on Tuesday for the funeral of one of Prigozhin's deputies who was killed with his boss in a plane crash last week. The family of Valery Chikalov, the head of Wagner's logistics, was joined by dozens of people, some identified as Wagner mercenaries, at a cemetery in St. Petersburg. A Russian Orthodox priest said prayers and sung a censer before Chigalov's coffin as family, friends, and former colleagues, some holding bunches of flowers, bade farewell. A private Embraer Legacy 600 private jet, in which Prigozhin was traveling to St. Petersburg from Moscow, crashed in the very region north of Moscow on August 23rd, with the loss of all 10 people on board, including Chigalov, Dmitry Utkin, one of Wagner's top leaders, and 4 men reported to be Prigozhin's bodyguards. It is still unclear what caused the plane crash. Kolo Mohammed, NTA News.
The Chinese embassy in South Sudan has handed over a modern broadcasting facility to South Sudan in Juba. The gesture is aimed at boosting the country's digital broadcasting services. Adebola Brookslyn reports.
The China-aided facility houses a new TV studio production building covering an area of about 2,400 square meters. The 2-floor building includes various production studios, a master control room, office space, and other related supporting facilities.
The project is not only the crystallization of the common wisdom and the threat of the people of both sides, but also another new milestone in the friendship between China and South Sudan.
South Sudan's Minister of Information, Communication, Technology and Postal Services, Michael Akure, said the technical handover of the facilities would enable the local staff of the South Sudan Broadcasting Corporation be trained to take over full management and control of the facilities.
This is a landmark in South Sudan. We will be witnessing a real progress in this particular field. In the field of broadcasting, this is where we need to tell the world that we are now, with the help of our friends, the Chinese, we are now moving forward and will be in a position to catch up with the world soon.
Although civil war have hindered South Sudan's development, but many people are now optimistic the country can realize its dream with the broadcast facility, another step in the right direction, while operating multiple channels with ability to broadcast in different languages. Adebola Brookslyn, NTA News.
It is the dawn of a new season in Akure Ijumo local government area of Kogi State as the newly appointed traditional ruler, Oba Julius Oludumeji III, took over the mantle of leadership. Jonathan Omojali has details.
Traditional institution, no doubt, commands a high level of respect in this part of the world, and as such, no vacuum is expected with respect to appointment of traditional rulers for any community. It was therefore an opening of a new chapter in Akure Ijumo local government area of Kogi State as a new royal father, Oba Julius Olumodeji III, came on board. The people of Akure, like a good number of communities, believe in the concept of communal efforts to satisfy their yearnings and aspirations. This was evident as the royal father, within a short period of his appointment, installed a solar-powered street light which was commissioned during the coronation ceremony. The project, according to the people, is a good beginning of purposeful leadership.
It was our belief that with qualification and well of experience over professional career spanning many years in public service, the new Akure of Akure is well equipped to confront any challenges that may arise from discharging its responsibility.
We are now beginning a new event, a new era, and with that new era, from what has happened today, we put on a solar light throughout the whole town. This is the initiative of the new king, and therefore we are hopeful that more new things will come.
He's someone of high personality. He wants you to do things the way he expects you to do it. And he doesn't want failure. He wants to go in for success and he follows it up.
From his background, a trained engineer, he has practiced as an engineer for a couple of years. There is no doubt about the fact that anything humanly possible will be done by him in order to ensure the progress of Akure as a community.
The emergence of our new Kabesi, His Royal Highness Oba Olumodeji Julius, we thank God for him, and by looking at his background and his pedigree, he is going to accomplish a lot. He's going to perform a lot, because from what you can see now, you see a number of projects he has embarked upon over this period of time.
Born in 1950, Oba Julius Olumodeji III is a holder of higher national diploma, postgraduate diploma, master degree in mechanical engineering. The traditional ruler, a registered engineer with adequate work experience which cut across manufacturing sector and higher institutions, unveiled the policy thrust of his administration.
It is a God-given appointment. Well, I believe that God is going to guide me in my administration, but I believe my administration will come out to work and in order to bring development to the town and also unity among the indigenes. My advice to the subjects is to avoid clanishing. Let them avoid clanishing, because anybody who is found in such a condition will have himself to blame.
The selection process of Oba Julius Ulumodeji III as the Alayire of Ayere was concluded between March and April 2023. From Ayere, Ijumu local government area, Jonathan Omajali, NTA News.
Up next is Wednesday's weather prospects for Nigeria and other cities of the world. And that's the end of the news on NTA International. Thanks for watching. I am Frama Panyi, and Shagun Ajayi has been the interpreter for the hearing impaired.